Hey, what's up, everybody? Today on the show, Hung Up Podcast, if you're listening on Word Radio, Unpacking, I am joined by Philly native who's making some major moves, okay? In Hollywood and beyond, Milan Carter. He's an actor, he's a producer, he is a storyteller, and he's best known right now for his role as Barry on the Netflix action comedy series FUBAR, where he stars alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, from the heart of West Philly. West Philly made, and I love. That's where I live. I live in West Philly.
Okay, dope,
Shout out
man.
to Clark Park. I
Hey.
love West Philly. From West Philly to the global stage, we have so much to unpack. When I think of your journey, I think of your journey as one of hustle, of heart, and really staying true to your roots. Especially in this intro conversation that we had before we started recording, you were really true to your roots, true to your family, and those are the things that we really love about our people. We say, don't forget where you came from.
100%.
You have not. You've taken everything with you to help you along this journey. Folks, we've seen him in Warped. We've seen him in Dolomite Is My Name. And now he is back in the 215. Welcome.
Thank you,
It's
brother.
such an honor just to have you here.
Hey.
And shout out to your team for reaching out and making this happen. I was like, whoa. I was like, yes, how do we make this happen? What do I have to do? Which actually, my podcast is usually done via Zoom. And so I haven't been in the Rec Philly space in a while. I had a YouTube show a few years ago and I was here all the time. Marquise was my producer. And so it feels dope to be back in this space. I had to make it happen for you.
Hey, come on.
I said, what I need to do to get back up in here?
Come on,
because we have a
nostalgia.
special guest here. Welcome to the show. How you feeling?
Thank you, man. I'm amazing, bro. It's truly a blessing to be back in the city. I remember coming to the gallery after school, chasing girls, just acting a fool. And I used to work at the Gap around the corner. It was one of my first jobs. So it's just like, it's dope to be back and just to see the growth of Philly, right? Because it's weird.
Oh, yeah.
When you outgrow your friends, right? Sometimes you grow and you keep going, and that's like, I don't fit here no more. But to see the city grow as I grow, it's a great feeling to be welcomed back into something that's so comfortable.
Absolutely. The city is growing. The skyline, you probably noticed,
I was like,
getting
this
big.
is changing. This is not the same thing.
It is changing. It's changing. So Philly made you, and I want to know, because you really carry that Philly energy with you. What was it like for you growing up in West Philly? And was acting always a dream for you, or was this something that kind of came later, a part of as you went along your journey? You said, "Ooh, this is my calling."
Yeah, growing up in West Philly was interesting, right? I am the youngest of 6 boys. So
everyone, you all brothers.
All brothers, and
y'all gave y'all parents hell.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Actually, I was the angel child, by the way.
Of course.
But having 5 older brothers, they were all really committed to sports. So at an early age, I was always different. My brothers always tell you were weird, and I said, I want to do theater. I want to act, and it's like, you want to get on stage and put on a tutu? And I was like,
no,
bro, it's more than just a tutu.
That's not it,
right? But it's like,
not quite it. Yeah,
it's like, you want to tell us something? I said, no, I'm cool. We can hoop. So by default, what masculinity was in the 90s, like, all right, cool. I became a sports player. But as I, got older and, my brothers got
baseball,
really,
right?
I was good at baseball, but basketball was the chosen sport amongst us, either football or basketball. And I ain't like being hit. So it wasn't going to be football.
Yeah.
I was really nice at baseball, but my brothers weren't. So therefore, when you got a carpool, like my mom's not about to drive all over the city, take you to basketball here, take you over there. It's like, no, you gonna play up on your brother's team and whatever.
Y'all sticking together.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
So yeah, growing up here, it wasn't really much of an exploration of my artistic endeavors, but I always knew I loved telling stories. I always knew I loved watching movies because they were like an escape to go somewhere, because I never really felt at home. I felt as though I just needed to be somewhere else, and I love to live in my imagination. So with that, I will always just make scenes out of wherever I was and make up stories, and I might have, been a little bit of eyeball, but in the end, it all paid off. And I think once I got a little bit older, my brothers went off to college or to prison, and it allowed me to really figure out who Milan was. And that's when I really took the time to dig in and realize I love telling stories. And if I can tell a story in any medium, that's the direction I wanted to go. And I wanted to go to college for journalism. And then when I went to LA, I was like acting or hosting. Whatever door opens up first, boom, that's the door I'm gonna run through. And it happened to be journalism, so I did that for a minute, and then transitioned into acting.
Wow. And shout out to your alma mater, Lincoln University.
Hey, 1854 first HBCU for sure.
We had some really dope conversation about that before we got started. And you know, we love our HBCU. Shout out to Morgan State. That's where I went for undergrad. Temple when I came here to Philly. So, you know, just shout out to all of that and all that Philly does for all of us.
100%.
Right. And I think that's a true testament to every person sitting in this room right now. So just hearing you speak that and affirm that, and to see you have moved on, you're on the big screen right now, really gives us all like so much hope and aspiration for sure.
So one thing I love to take with me everywhere I go, people always say you're a product of your environment, right? And normally when they say that, it has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
My brother spent 13 years in prison. You know, he's a product of his environment in the hood, you know, grew up in the tough streets. But they never tell you get to choose what type of product you want to be. And I always kept it in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, even though I'm from a tough place, even though, you know, my brother is locked up, even though, you know, my dad had a drug problem, all these things are a part of my story, and I get to choose how my story ends. And people say, you know, you got that number of the date you're born, and then you got a dash, and then you got the date that you die. You get to choose what goes in that dash. And I always believed in carrying that with me everywhere I went. And so, yes, Philly helped mold me. Philly gave me some struggles, but without a test, you can't have a testimony.
Oh, come on. It's feeling like church up in here.
Church.
But that is a true word, a proverb, if you will. You know, speaking of owning it all in Philly and bringing it with you and how it raised you, do you still find yourself, you know, we love our Philly language, you know, John, Bull. Do you still find yourself out in these LA streets?
Oh, 100%. John
tapping back into Philly.
Listen, all day, every day. Everybody know I'm from Philly as soon as I open my mouth, and it's something I'm very proudful in. And it's just like I want you to know where I came from. Like before, I had a teacher say no one should know where you are from when you open your mouth. So I was great at code switching, but the older I get, the more I fall in love with my authenticity,
the origins,
and you should be able to be who you are in any room you go in. You
yeah,
shouldn't have to change that.
Absolutely. And it sounds like you're embracing it, really. Like, this is who I am. I actually love it. I'm not ashamed about sharing that with you all.
Because that's the truth. And I think that's what people relate to more than anything, especially now in the days of social media, in the days of people like Kais and I live streaming all day long. It's like people want the truth. They don't want you to have to change and be something that you're not. And right. I think there's a tide change that's happening.
For sure. For sure. All right, well, let's get into the work, your journey, your career, the craft, because what we do know is success doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. So many doors closed, so many no's that you receive. I mean, so many nights you may even sit up thinking like, should I be doing this? Is this, I thought I was called to do this, but things just don't seem to be working out right for me. Bad characters, people that you're looking for motivation or guidance from doesn't always work out. Business doesn't always work out well. Relationships, partnerships don't always end well, right? All of the things. What are some of those early challenges you face, especially as a Black actor, breaking into acting, breaking into the entertainment world? And how did Milan stay motivated through all of that?
Well, we could talk about it as a Black actor, or we could just talk about it as a Black man. So I think just being Black, first off, is challenging, right? And you are judged in every room you go in on how you speak. So very early on, code switching was one of the biggest things. Like, I didn't talk the way that I didn't have that Middle Western accent that all journalists have. Because when I went there, I had an internship with Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight. And every time I tried to get on camera, I had my Philly accent. I sound like I was from Philly. So therefore, it was a much less chance, and I was much less desirable to be had in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. So now you're the dude that hosts all the homecoming concerts. Everybody loves to see you on stage. You really know how to turn up a party. But now you're in LA trying to get on camera. It's like, oh, you don't know how to speak. What? I speak well. Everybody listens.
Fine. Like, what's the problem? Right. That's what you're thinking, right?
So now it's like, all right. So I had to now go through that and change my mental and realize, like, all right, maybe it's some things I don't know that in that aspect, it's like maybe I don't know how to speak, and you get down on yourself and you lose your confidence. So I think my confidence was one of the things that was shot early on, and you go from being a big fish. Because I went to Lincoln, it was a small school, like 1,000, undergrad students, maybe a little bit more, like 1,300, and I stood out. And now I'm in LA, where it's the best of the best. Everybody's the best at whatever city they came from, and you just now are nobody. There's no one to pat you on the back, and you have to figure it all out. You have to start back at ground zero. So it definitely was a challenge, and there's no one out here spoon feeding you the right answer. And then also, it's not a lot of black roles. Like,
talk about that, because we hear that from our Viola Davises of the world. A lot of our sisters have been saying this for a long time. What's your perspective and your view?
A lot of times I feel like as a black actor, you have to check off every diversity box, whether you want to or not. It's like, all right, cool, you're black. All right, cool. Can you be handicapped? All right, cool. Can you also be gay? Can you also be I already said disabled, but basically any box, they wanted to all go in one character. And it's like, why can't there be a gay black man? Why can't there be a handicapped black man? Why can't we all just have different things all at the same time? But no, if we want to hire a black person, they got to do it all.
Wow.
And I think that's unfair in that aspect, because it's like, you shouldn't be put in a box. You should be able to do whatever you want to do in that aspect. But I think that's why you have to admire people like Tyler Perry, and you are creating your own thing and telling the stories that you want to tell. And that's why you got to honor people like Ryan Coogler, because they get to create their stories and things that live in their head. And that's why it's so important for us to go out to the theaters with them. Yeah. So you can now tell more original stories and stories that matter to you, because oftentimes no one can tell your story the way you can. Mm-hmm. No one can tell me how to be a black man like another black man. Yeah. And when you go to these acting classes, you tell people, and it's a black character, they try to give you these thoughts and tell you how the character thinks and what they believe in. It's like, that's not what I seen in my hood. Right. It might be true to you. It might be how you want it to look, but it's not always the case. And you have to figure out, how do you tightrope? I want a job, but I also want to tell the truth. Is there a way that I can mix the two? And sometimes you can't always win. And I think you have to earn your keep, and you have to sometimes be like, all right, I'm not going to speak up this time. I'm not going to speak up this time, but this time I earned it.
I'm going to say what I got to say. Shout out to Ryan Coogler, by the way. Did you see Sinners?
Listen,
did you?
Seen twice.
I haven't seen. I wanted to see it again. I haven't seen it yet again, but that first time was definitely like, Keith was actually on my podcast a few weeks ago, and we unpacked all things Sinners. What were your thoughts?
I love how unique it was, and it wasn't just a horror movie. It was like its own genre, and it was a great story. Like, I love to watch a movie and not say it was a black movie. I think that's my biggest thing. Like, when you go, you're like, oh, that's a black movie. No, it's
just a movie.
This was just a movie that was
story being
dope,
told. Yes,
and it was amazing. It's like, yo, can I be in a sequel? Like, I want to be a part. Please,
come on, we got to get you in there.
Hey, I'm here for that. But yeah, I think it was a wonderful story and a beautiful story about black people, and it told truth of struggles, things that our people have gone through, and also from things that Asian people may go through, and I think it was just amazing, and I look forward to the sequel and the threequel?
The trilogy. The threequel. That was good. I had a point there. That threw me off. Sorry. No, you're good. No, there was a lot of truth told, and I think one of the things that Keith and I unpacked that we really appreciated was the music. And what that has done for us. Kendrick Lamar just said, he just told us we survived outside all from the music. What? And the music truly has, throughout the generations, has really carried us through. So just shout out to Ryan Coogler.
Ain't that crazy how Sinners. He's trying to steal our musician so they can have it? The parallels of life. Right?
So much symbolism in this movie, and told so many different perspectives from different actors, different points of views, and that was definitely appreciated. And it's interesting how you brought up how, black actors have to be everything. Because I think of some of these white actors, and I'm not gonna say no names, because you're an actor, and I still consider you a colleague, right? You probably still consider yourself a colleague. But I feel like a lot of these white actors would be one-hit wonders.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They hit one note, or they're typecast for that same role. They're given that same delivery,
but they're
on the screen.
Oh, he can say he's handsome. I can sell anything with this guy.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets down to. It's like somebody told me it's show business, and that's the thing that gets lost. It's all about the business.
Yeah.
So a lot of times the suits come in and they change things because it's all about the dollar. What's going to make sense? And as an artist, that's where a lot of your creative things get lost.
I was going to say that gets in the way of that.
Many writers, many people have these brilliant ideas, but before it gets to the screen, you don't know how many chops they had to go through, how many people had to note it and change what it is. And that's
because those ideas have to be paid for, right?
Exactly. And what I think is changing, what I love about social media and people taking their power back, right? You can't tell now a lot of social influencers how they have to create because they are the marketing team. They are the brand, and you want them to sell your product. So you now have to come and meet them where they are.
Yeah.
I think we're in the age of taking our power back.
Y'all heard it. All right, let's get into FUBAR. Like it's we have to. That's why you're here, right? Netflix, you can stream it. There are 2 seasons up right now.
Yeah.
You're in both, I believe. Sir. Season 1, season 2. This man has been working.
Apple, called number 1 on the call sheet. I've made it to number 3. We're moving up in the world. Number 3 on the call sheet.
And for the non-actors out there, what exactly does that mean?
It's basically order of importance and basically how much you're in the show. So the number 1 person on this call sheet is in the show the most. The number 2 is in the second most, and number 3. They are the 3rd most important cast member because they're in more scenes than pretty much everyone else.
Who number 1? Arnold?
Of course.
Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Of course. I don't know if there's ever been a movie since he came out that he was not number 1.
How about that? That man been in so many movies. My Lord.
Number 1 all day long.
Yes, yes. So unpack for us, how did you land the role of Barry, and what has made this character stand out for you? I appreciate the role. I'm a systems analyst from 9 to 5.
Okay.
I see so much of the work that I do in the role. Like you're really trying to like get them through these really tactical, really tough situations.
Half the things I don't even know. And I'll be studying. But yeah. So the role of Barry, man, like well, people may not know about actors, and if you think about going to Hollywood, here's a little thing. This thing called pilots, right? So every year, networks will shoot multiple shows and then decide if they're going to keep them. So I was pilot boy. I booked the pilot for ABC, NBC, and CBS. And so now you get these pilots, and you think your life's about to change, but you realize it's just one check. You think, oh, I'm going to get 22 episodes this season, and you realize after a month of waiting, they don't want your show. So that happened not once, not twice, but 3 times. Wow. And now you're just like, dang, like, okay, is this acting thing really for me?
Yeah.
Because in acting, 2nd place is worse than coming in 50th place. Like, if I don't get a call back, cool, no biggie. But if you tell me I was this close, or you called one time, they said, hey, we really like Milan, but it's going in another direction. But if this dude don't pass his COVID test, it's Milan's. Well, I was praying for that man's downfall.
For sure. Like, fail the test. Fail the test so I can get this part.
Right? But that's the type of situation you're in. Like
trying to slip a test already made. They got positive results in there.
What's his name?
Slip that in there. Yeah.
But yeah.
The things that happen in Hollywood. Okay.
So
reminds me of that scene in Showgirls. For the folks that know from back in the day, she pushed that woman down the stairs. She said, "Girl, I'm taking the show. I'm stealing this. This is mine."
The Showgirls. Come on now, listen. But yeah. So I went from that, and now this Arnold show. It was called It was called UTAP, Untitled Arnold Project. And
that was the name of it.
That was the name of it.
Okay.
And sometimes you get these auditions, and it says straight to series. So that means it's not a pilot. That means that the whole series is going to get made. And then it seemed my character, his name originally was Tommy, by the way. And I said, hey, guys, why'd y'all change his name? Well, somebody had brought up in a meeting, you're an uncle. So put it two together, Milan. Uncle Tom. Oh, okay. So now he's.
Well, at least
Uncle
somebody
Barry.
got it. Because sometimes people don't be getting it and will put you on out there.
Because I didn't get it. I was like, oh, yeah, that would have.
We didn't want that.
That could have went horribly.
But yeah, I was gonna say I do notice that sometimes they refer to you as Uncle Barry during the show.
So in season 1, I added this line that black don't crack because it's the whole thing is like me and Monica, who plays my niece, we're not that far apart in age, so they had to bring it up. Like, hold up, how the heck is he Uncle Barry? And I threw the line in there like, I was 17, she was 12, and I know her all life, and black don't crack. So it's just like in that aspect. So we brought the whole show together. But for my audition process, I auditioned in January. So I got the audition in early January. I coached with any and everybody that was willing to listen. So I rehearsed over like 50 times. I probably did over 100 tapes, different outfits, different things. And I was really like, yo, I really want this.
Yeah.
Because I think every black comedian, every black comedic actor in LA all audition for this, because I feel like once a year you get these crossover roles, right? Of course, there'll be black roles and black shows,
right?
But once a year you'll have something like last year. I think it was Fight Night, right? So you had Fight Night with Kevin Hart, and everybody's like, "Yo, how do I get to be a part of this big project?" So it's these big budget projects. So it's like, all right, cool, this is it,
and everybody's like going for it.
It's like I've been a nerd all my life.
Is like,
competition is ridiculous,
heavy,
and then also you get this weird thing that
giving people positive COVID tests, just so you know.
Just take this.
Competition.
Take this.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
It's heavy. It's very heavy. And because the amount of people who told me afterwards, yeah, I auditioned for that. I said, oh, cool. Yeah, I got real close. Okay, cool. Not sure what I'm supposed to do with that information.
Right. How do you like go with that?
All right. Then other people like, yeah, I tested for that. I was like, no, you didn't. No, I know the other guy who tested for it. You were not them. But people start like, okay, all right. But nevertheless, so now, so January, I audition, send in a tape, and I don't hear anything for like a month. Crickets. So I was like, all right, cool. Pilot season come back around. For those of you who don't know, pilot season, it's a month, like those pilots I told you about, where new shows are getting shot. I was like, I'm going to change my look because as a black man with an afro and a beard, I never get to play white collar workers. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer.
I was definitely going to ask you about
never
that.
Get callbacks. So that goes back to the whole diversity thing. And so I was like, yo, maybe if I cut my hair, I can be more.
It's giving Philly Bull.
Of a suited thing. Yeah, 100%.
It's giving Philly Bull.
Philly Bull. I love the Zodiac, or
I love the Zodiac. Where's my ankh?
Where's my ankh? I like taking long walks on the beach. So in that, I was like, yo, I'm going to cut my hair just so I can be ready for pilot season. The day after I cut my hair, which happens to be Super Bowl Sunday, the Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl. I get a text from my manager. Hey, remember that Arnold project you auditioned for an eternity ago? Well, they want to meet with you. I was like, today? Like Super Bowl Sunday today? She said, yes. I was like, well, good thing you're telling me at 8 in the morning because I was about to be drunk. And
at 9.
At 9. Litty city.
As you're supposed to be.
So she said, right? So she said, stand by, more information coming. So all day I'm twiddling my thumbs because what does it mean that the showrunner, the producer wants to meet with me? Does that mean it's an audition? Does that mean you want to do coffee? Does it mean I book? Like, what is it?
What is it? Right.
I have no idea.
Nerves
so I have nerves. I have angst.
Yeah.
And so about 4 hours go by. She finally hits me back and says, yeah, he got Super Bowl remorse. He's not meeting with you today. What in the world? I just wasted not going to the the Super Bowl starts in 20 minutes. I can't get anywhere in LA in 20 minutes to get to the actual party. No. So now I have to watch the Super Bowl in my living room by myself.
Wow.
And
these are the sacrifices.
These are the sacrifices you make, right? And at the same time, I'm a series regular on Warped, but I took the job with Warped where we negotiated. It's like, hey, if another project comes along, you guys will be willing to work it out. But what happens when you book a series regular, you have options on the table. So options are basically years of contracts or seasons of contracts. So I have multiple options on the table for Warped, and they have to say yes to me getting this show. So instead of me just being able to just audition and go back, it's like, all right,
it's like
now
conflict, right?
Conflict of interest,
okay,
right?
Gotcha.
It's like your job, says I got you first, but if you want to take another job, they got to come second to that.
Exactly.
So now here we are. Nickelodeon is kind of playing hardball with Netflix. So you about to block this blessing of me even getting the chance
Not
to have a callback.
Nickelodeon.
100%. And that went on for like several weeks until they finally like figured it out. And then I finally got they figured it out. I got the call back. I met with the showrunner on Zoom and we talked for about an hour. He said, "Yo, Milan, when I seen your tape, it was perfect. It was everything. Now we're about to get off this Zoom." And he looks at me and stares at me for a second like, "Did you cut your hair?" And I was like, see what had happened was I went to the barber. I said, "Just line my joint up." He said, "Zoop." And I had a bald spot, so he had to even it out.
Good save.
And I was like, but I was still nervous. I called my manager. I said, "I'm not going to get this part. I ruined it.
Because you had cut your hair.
She said, "No, you're more CIA." He said, "No, I need Barry with the hair. He's more of a nerd." And so the next day we get on Zoom. We put it on tape and so forth. And then it's crickets for like a week. Crickets. I was like, they don't want me. I lost the whole job because I cut my hair.
Cut the fro.
Now check this out. My son is about to be born. And right before he's about to be, so no, hold up. So now a week or so goes by. I finally get a phone call that happened. That night we go out to celebrate because my son's supposed to be born in a week. Have a baby moon. So we go out to dinner. I said, "Babe, I know I booked that based off of my audition. It was so good." She said, "All right, let's celebrate. Celebrate that. And before our son is born." The next morning we wake up. I get a phone call from her dad. He says, "Yo, call me back when Ashley wakes up." We call him back. Get a phone call that her brother's in a coma. Right? She's from Birmingham, Alabama. He drove to Montgomery to go pick up some sneaks. He wound up doing some cocaine. And the cocaine was laced with fentanyl.
No.
In a coma. Now, I thought I was about to celebrate booking the biggest role of my career. And now I'm here looking at my brother-in-law not doing so well. Wow. So can I even, if I get that phone call, can I even celebrate?
Wow.
It's a weird system. And now we spoke, we were planning to have an at-home birth. So before we even get there, we asked our midwife, "Can we even fly?" She says, "Yes, but if you have that baby in Alabama, you're going to have to be there for a while." So we was like, "Yo, we can go on a Saturday, but we have to be back by Wednesday." That Wednesday, he was pronounced dead. We flew back. Sad. Nothing. Emotions done. Exhausted. I get an audition for another show. It was for Found. It was showing NBC. Unfortunately, it just got canceled, but at the time, it was just a pilot. I auditioned for it, and shout out to Leah Daniels Butler, Overbrook alumni, Philadelphia.
Hey.
And then I do that audition in the state I'm in. I get a call back. I wound up getting a producer test, and then they wanted to give me a test deal. So a test deal is basically you sign your contract, and then it's between you and probably one other person. And Leah shoots me an email. It's like, "Yo, your team is not responding. I'm trying to give you this test deal." And I was like, "Yo, Leah Daniels just hit me up. What's going on?"
What's going on, right?
Kind of find out FUBAR is on the table. And they're sitting there trying to figure out, you're still in the running, Milan. They just had to audition someone else, but they're coming back to you. And I'm like, all right, so what's up? So long story short, I don't get found. I wound up, my son gets born on that Saturday. And then they hit me up on that Monday saying Arnold wants to do a chemistry with you on Friday. So now I have a newborn baby in my arms doing a chemistry with Arnold on Zoom, and I had to bring it. I bust my behind
with the baby.
He's off on the side, asleep.
I love it.
But he's in the same room, and I bust my behind. I do 2 takes based off of how I rehearsed with everybody, and they went horrible. Because the casting director's like, "Yo, it's a fast-paced take. It's like a procedural, real fast. So if you think about ER, you think about Grey's Anatomy, everything's real fast.
Yeah.
That's how this scene was supposed to be. But it wound up not. I read with Arnold. Arnold reads a lot slower because he did not know his lines. And he was reading it super slow. I was like, "Yo, this is stupid. I'm not gonna get this." But something told me to say, "Hey, Arnold, can we just do this one more time?" He said, "What kind of bodybuilder would I be if I didn't like reps?" Terrible impersonation.
It's the accent.
But yes. So nevertheless, he said, "Let's do it again." So I said, "All right, instead of me trying to shine as an actor, let me throw an alley-oop. My whole job is to set him up so he can knock it out the park." And I did that. And then that's when my acting coach was behind the camera, like, "That's the take. That's the take." And that was the take that wound up booking it. And that was the opening monologue in season 1, where I'm telling Arnold about the big problems that we have. And that is how I booked FUBAR.
Wow, I appreciated you unpacking all of that, because I think it's amazing the trials and tribulations that we encounter when we're embarking on something big.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I just picked up from you. I know for me, you know, I
That's
shared
without
with
testimony.
you, it really is. You know, before we got recording, I shared with you that, you know, so much is changing for me. My show is moving to a prime time, and there's so many wonderful things happening. Keith's got
Congratulations.
something coming on for Juneteenth. I'm going to be on stage. Like, there's just I'm sitting here with you, which is amazing, and an amazing opportunity. Thank you again. But I just transitioned. My dog passed this past Tuesday morning, and so in the midst of grief and heartache and all in the challenges that we are facing on a day-to-day basis, when these blessings come, I think it's a true testimony to you staying in tune with who you are and what your calling is, to make sure that you're on time and that you're on point.
Thank you.
And you're there for the moment. Because I think it was Taraji Henson who said, if you're not where you're supposed to be, when it's your time and when it's your moment, baby, you're going to miss your moment.
I'll miss it.
You're going to miss it. So shout out to you.
Ain't that crazy?
It is.
You never want your blessing to come when you're not ready for it.
Right. And it's usually going to come when you is tipsy-toppy. Everything in your world is upside down because the universe, God is saying, well, you said you wanted it. You said you wanted this, so let's really test you and see if you're able to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to have this gift, you're going to have to be able to keep it even when times are hard.
Right.
Even when you're going through grief and challenges and breakups and different things, you know, in a relationship. You still want this gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what you're going to do with it. For the folks who are, you know, watching and they're not familiar with FUBAR, because I really want everyone to tap in, and it's an amazing series on Netflix. You have 2 series up right now, so you can just binge. Y'all know how we like to do. Mm-hmm. We like to binge, and you can do that right now. Give the people a quick synopsis. Let them know what FUBAR is all about and what they can expect.
FUBAR is Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best. It is an international spy series, but the base of it, it's about family. So if you ever been to the family reunion, you got your uncle on the grill, you got your crazy cousin. FUBAR is them trying to save the world. So imagine the craziest scenarios. The world is about to explode. Can you, your uncle, your auntie, can y'all fix it? Can you save the world?
It's a little chaotic. That sounds chaotic to me.
That's FUBAR stands for effed up beyond all recognition. So get excited for an amazing journey and an amazing story about family and saving the world.
Dope. And you mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger. Shout out to him. You're working alongside a big star who's been in the game for a really long time. Unpack what that's been like for you working alongside him.
They say never meet your idols because you'll always be disappointed. Arnold has surpassed anything I could have ever imagined. He really is who you think he is. And I've never met someone who really pours into everyone. Like if you tell him, yo, I want to do stand-up, or you're into this, you just bought a house, like he's going to follow up, ask you how's it doing, see how he can help, and really give you advice. I'd say he's like a grandfather to me because you ask him one question, you're going to hear a nice long story. But typically in that story, it's a lot of gems that are definitely going to help you. And, you know, he brings me in close. And like this, I think I have a clip when I was on the red carpet. You can just hear him in the background, that suit. So we be having like little competitions on who dresses better and stuff like that. So it's definitely a dream come true to be able to work with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the same person who my babysitter used to take me to go see his movies in the summertime, from Kindergarten Cop to Junior, to me trying to get pregnant, but realizing, oh, Junior is just a movie. All good things, man. Like it's dope to work with the governor. And then I got
the governor, yes.
The governor, that's what they call him internationally. We got a chance to go to Munich, Germany with him. And he took me to Oktoberfest. And it's one of those things, your coworker is one way, right? You ever go partying with your coworker?
It's happened.
Right?
Those are special moments. You can't party with every coworker, but
it's a different person.
It's a different exactly.
So we're in the middle of COVID on set with Arnold, and that's how I get to meet him. And then he takes me to Munich, Germany, and now I see him in his full Arnold.
His element.
His element,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because one, as an actor, TV is a different pace than movies. So in movies, you got so much time to shoot a scene. In TV, you shooting like 3-4 scenes a day, right?
So much more fast.
So Arnold is learning his lines, and it's a new thing for him.
Yeah.
But when he's in Munich, Germany, he don't have no lines. He like, oh,
he's just him.
Oh, you Himothy, right? So it was a dope experience. And most people hire a tour guide to take you around the city. No, Arnold rented 15 bikes. And he was our tour guide all around Munich, Germany. We went on like a 15, 20-mile bike ride. It was amazing.
Wow, that must be dope to have him as your tour guide.
Oh, 100%. He's like, yeah, this is my first gym that I went to. This is where Hitler told his first speech. I was like, Hitler. Don't know how I feel about that one.
Oh.
But cool. Great. I like history.
Sounds like Arnold has definitely been a big support for you, a mentor, someone that you've looked up to in this arena, this entertainment, this acting arena that you navigate in. So that's dope. I'm glad that you have that.
Yeah, he had to say yes for me to get this role. He had to sign off.
He was number one. He was
EP and number one.
Oh, okay. Okay, number one and the EP. So, one thing I love about FUBAR is that it's comedy. It's like almost like detective kind of work. And there's high action, people getting shot, and then back to the comedy. And really the cast, now that you've like kind of put this together about that family dynamic that exists on the show, you really do see that. You really do see the family kind of like in being family in the interactions that we have with each other, being grossed out with each other and fighting each other, but also like being able to come together and figure things out and celebrating those wins. And then you go back to just being siblings, going back to being family. How do you stay prepared? Well, first, like, unpack one of your favorite things about your character, and what you think is one of the most important things that you think your character, Barry, Uncle Barry, brings to this cast, brings to this series. What's that thing
H-E-A-R-T, heart. Barry got the biggest heart on the show. It's not even close. And I love, like, he may not be the strongest. He may not be the most athletic, but one thing he's never going to do is not care and not show up. And I think that's what's the most admirable thing about him. And I think that's a representation of bravery. He says, it's one line in our show where I quote, forgive me, I'm not sure which kid show it is. It says, family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. And that's Lilo Stitch? Lilo Stitch? Okay. Thank you. See? So I think that's how he lives life, right? Because family is so important to him. And Barry didn't have a traditional family. He was an orphan at an early age, and the Bruners took him in. And also the CIA took him in. And he doesn't take any of that for granted. And for me, I got kicked out. So this woman who lived across the street from me when I was a kid took me in, and now she's my grandmother, and without her I wouldn't be here. So I relate to Barry in that aspect, that he really puts family first, and those who look out for them, he'll never stop looking out for them. So
wow, that's dope.
Thanks,
and if y'all didn't get a reason why you need to tap into FUBAR, that was it right there. Shout out to Barry. We got to watch, even if it's just to support Barry and all this work that you're doing on Netflix, which, by the way, being on this now global stage with Netflix, unpack for us, like, what has Netflix done right now to change your visibility, how people see you, even your career trajectory? What has being on this national stage, this global stage with Netflix, what has it done for you?
It's definitely got me in a lot more rooms. I feel like acting is there's always a battle, right? So now I used to be competing against hundreds of thousands of actors. Then I'm competing against just 100 actors. Then it's 50. I think now I'm on a much shorter list of actors I'm competing with. I'm able to audition for projects that I never could have imagined. And it's just keeping me on my toes. And I'm just really excited. And I think one of the things you may struggle with as an actor is your value and your self-worth. One of my acting teachers, she used to give me a lot of projects where, I had to deal with worthlessness. And I think that's something that we don't talk about enough. And we talk about depression, we talk about all different things and, masculinity, but we don't talk about worthlessness. And
we don't.
And I think what this has taught me it's made me really focus in on I am worth something. And that's part of the journey I've been going on. And I think that's why I relate to Barry so much in this, is because sometimes you can feel like you don't matter. Sometimes you can feel like if you disappear tomorrow, nobody really would care. So why do I even need to show up today? Because you just like, oh, tomorrow's gonna come regardless. So hey, I just do this whatever way it's gonna turn out.
Wow.
So
it's a low place to be in.
right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily just the super low place. It's just they say the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. To
Right,
live
right.
life indifferently.
That's a good way to, yeah.
You just like, you're not really striving for anything.
You're just
And
here.
you're just here, existing.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
this show has really done for me is forced me to get out of just existing, because it's so easy to reach your goals, right? I dreamed of being an actor.
And
I
you are
dreamed
now.
of being on Netflix.
You've done it.
My dreams have come true.
Yes.
I have to find a new dream.
Yes.
Right? So now I have to start over again and really look at me and look at the internal and like, am I worth more than just one Netflix series? Am I worthy of having another one? Am I worthy of being number one on the call sheet, right?
Yes.
And those are the things, and this is the things that this show was able to teach me. And I have to always be able to keep in my back pocket and remember and remind me of who I am. So this show was a checkpoint. Like when you playing a racing game, you keep going around, you get another lap. Once you pass the starting line, it's like, oh, you got more time. So this show created more time and more belief in myself to know that bigger is coming, better is coming, that God still got his hand on me, and I can't wait to see what happens next and continue to surprise me.
Oh, you are amazing.
Thanks, man.
Speaking of what's next, vision and what's next, you've gone from Philly blocks out here in West Philly to Hollywood lots. What kind of roles, what kind of stories is Milan excited to tell next?
Brotherhood first and foremost. I wouldn't be here without Brotherhood. I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
Oh, see, I ain't know that.
Yeah.
See, 1906 right here.
Right, it's okay. We can't always make the best decisions.
I mean, you can't always be first. You can't always come first. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
they didn't tell me that when they was trying to book the interview.
We had the rec center. We had the rec, right? This used to be the gallery. Can we say that this is better than the gallery?
I love it.
It's all love.
It's all love. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah, what's next for me? Like Brotherhood is I'm heavy on that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the type of stories I want to tell. Like I love bromances, like rom-coms. I'm also a rom-com.
Yes.
And I would just love to tell stories of brotherhood and growth, whether they're full of drama, full of love, full of fun. Like Will Ferrell is one of my biggest inspirations, but he had to mix that and put my flavor on it. I love Superbad. Like my brother spent over 13 years in prison, and now he's been nominated for a James Beard Award and has the top pizza shop in the city. Have you ever heard of Down North Pizza? If you haven't, check it out.
Yes.
Like my brother's an executive chef. They're opening up out west later on this month. And it's just like, he always says like when you do a bid in prison, your family do it with you. So every time he got locked up, I did it with him. So it's just like, but at the same time, he's always been my biggest cheerleader. Everything we went through as a child, we went through together. And when I say like, you're a product of your environment, but you get to choose. We chose different paths, but at the same time, we never stopped leveling up. So I'm working on being a black treasure hunter from the hood. That's one script that I'm working on.
Yes, I love that.
I'm also starting a YouTube series called Staying in My Own Way. And it's just like about things like I may have booked over 40 national commercials. I might be in series with Arnold Schwarzenegger, movies with Eddie Murphy, on TV with Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah.
But my name is Milan Carter, and I stand in my own way. And today, I'm going to figure out a way to step aside. So to continue to teach people about, procrastination. Really, perfection is just another word for procrastination. About worthlessness, about just stop making your work so precious. It's better to be prolific than it is to be perfect. So I want to give tips and pointers for everybody out there, whether you're creative, whether you're just an entrepreneur that may be struggling, because I learned a lot. So I want to give these gems out on my YouTube series.
Oh, for sure. And we want to stay tapped in because we're doing our creative thing here in Philly and beyond, especially this guy. I mean, you are very much out here getting the calls, going to the award shows and all of that. Let's wrap up with legacy. Legacy is not just about what you do. It's about what you choose to leave behind. And, you are not just an actor who has left Philly and accomplished so many things. You have a family now. Mm-hmm. You're married. You have inherited so much. How do you want to be remembered in this industry? What do you plan to leave? When you think about legacy, are you thinking about legacy? And when you think about legacy, what does that mean for you?
I had a casting exec ask me this years ago, and I guess I really wasn't thinking about legacy. It's so interesting when you grow up in Philly or grow up in a tough environment. So often, you live by survival. right? You either me and my wife used to always bump heads because she was raised on love, I was raised on survival.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you think about survival, you're not thinking
It's a mode of operation.
Yeah, you're not thinking 10 years ahead. You're
Yeah.
not thinking about what's next.
Think about right now.
Exactly.
Can I get through today?
Can I get through today?
Yeah.
What about, forget about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow has worries of its own. I
Right.
think that's in the Bible somewhere. Right? So in that aspect, I never really thought about it. So it was a change. I had to change my mindset, and I'm grateful for my wife because she brings out the best in me. She's my superpower, and now I'm learning how to live in love. So I was like, why do we have to be the ones so responsible to break generational curses? But hey, it's the cards we were dealt. And so I'm looking forward to changing that and open up a new way to love, a new way to be transparent. So the legacy I want to leave behind, and quoting Maya Angelou, people may not remember what you said, they may not remember what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Period. I want people to feel loved, and feel the ability to share love with everyone, because love is free and you can never run out of it. I used to be like, oh, if I give this person too much and they don't give it back, I'm gonna look like a fool. No, love is free. Give love everywhere you go, and that's what I want my legacy to be, is someone who gave love in every room they walked in and left people feeling full and abundant.
For sure. We definitely felt that from the moment that you got here.
Appreciate
the love,
that.
the authenticity. Thank you for just being in this moment with us in this small room and unpacking so much about your life, your story, your journey. You drop gems to inspire people out there, like myself, who have thought about acting. It does seem a little overwhelming and a little intimidating when you hear about all the things that are happening behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. But you brought us home. You from here, and you represent Philly in so many ways, and you letting everybody out here know, like, we can do this. Like, so shout out to you. Shout out to Uncle Barry.
Thank you.
If y'all not already watching the Netflix series FUBAR, make sure you do that. Tap in.
Appreciate you having me, man.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you for honoring me in the city that raised me. This is truly dope to come here and break bread with you, man. So we break bread on camera, off camera. Let's continue to do this, continue to fellowship, because that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Make sure you get you some good food before you leave up out of here. All right.
Absolutely. Down our pizza. There we go.
And out west. Peace, y'all.